You frightened me at times.
You know, it's our anniversary, so.
Oh, no.
Go, shawty.
It's your birthday.
We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gonna sip a Bacardi like it's your birthday.
Did you get
And
Bacardi?
you know we don't give up because that's your birthday. Find me in the club, bottle full of bub. Mama, I got what you need.
I don't know all the words.
I don't
You didn't get me Bacardi.
have Bacardi.
Oh, man.
But are you ready for your prize?
I'm always ready for a prize. Has it been behind you this whole time?
You have to, I've been recording, so you have to tell the people what you have.
It is 19 Crimes, Martha's Shard, y'all. Oh, she's got a wine opener here. Oh, it's a grown-up wine opener.
There's your towel. Yes, I've been leaning, my lower back is like super cold right now.
She has had this hidden behind her this whole time.
First of all, while you're doing that, you are listening to One Nation Under Crime, historical chronological true crime podcast. We have officially been doing this for 1 year. And each week we go through our nation's history and now discuss however many cases we feel like in each year.
Depends on how eventful the year was.
And we started in 1800. I'm Kayla. She's Leah.
I'm Leah.
And she's opening her bottle of wine. So yes, now you can continue. I was buying Prosecco for me. I was buying it for us. And then I turned around and saw that. And I was like, well, the Prosecco's for me now. It is. So 19 Crimes. I'm pretty sure we talked about it like the last episode. Maybe. Or you got it?
I don't know.
Pull.
Let me tell you, I have an electric wine opener. Oh.
Pull. You got this. Pull. You're almost there anyways.
I don't want to hit the microphone.
It's fine. Just
look.
You got it. Woo!
I hit the microphone.
So I turned around and I was like,
that's the one.
That's what she's getting. So for Leah's birthday, I got her the Snoop Rosé.
And it's really good, y'all.
And so
Snoop knows how to make some wine.
19 Crimes, of course. Now Martha has her own 19 Crimes wine, and it's Martha's Shard. And
oh my gosh, Chardonnay's my favorite.
Leah likes Chardonnay. So I don't know how good it is.
I'll let you know.
But I made sure to get Leah Chardonnay because she likes Prosecco. She doesn't like orange. She doesn't like for like mimosas. You don't like orange.
Mm-mm.
And I couldn't find pineapple juice. It was a whole ordeal. So I was like, you're getting Chard.
Well, I also like for a mimosa, I like
cranberry juice.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah, you have to tell everyone how this is our anniversary episode. So you have to tell the people your review.
No, I am no sommelier. I will tell you that. So I'm just going to tell you if I like it or not.
Let's see. While you do that, I'll tell you what it says on the back. 19 Crimes tells the true story of rule breakers who beat the odds and overcame adversity to become folk heroes. This spirit lives on today through innovators like Martha Stewart, a self-made icon who built a domestic empire.
Who also went to prison.
Martha's drive embodies the timeless values of the 19 Crimes mavericks who came before her. And you can scan this nifty little QR code for Martha's story. And then look at her on the front and her pearls, just judging you if you don't buy this bottle. Because that is what look at that look. The little smarmy look on her face.
I love Martha. I have to say, I'm a Martha fan.
How are we feeling with the
I like
the
it.
wine? Is it good?
I like it. I do.
Is it a good, is it a buttery? You know these things better than I. So
Yeah.
if anyone is looking for a Shard, what?
I'm not the biggest fan of the real buttery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really haven't met a Shard that I don't like.
See, I don't like Shard, so I can't speak to
Kayla
that.
does not have the most sophisticated palate. She does not really like the wines.
Much like this trash panda on the front of this wine glass. This is me. And funny enough, it says "Who me?" and it's a little trash panda with a little feather headband on. It's great.
Yes. And he's got his little hands in front of his mouth, like an oops, kind of like a la Betty Boop. Yes, I do. It is a pretty good shard. I do like it. It's pretty good.
If you could compare it to another shard you've had, what would it be comparative to?
It's very similar to Josh Sellers, which is my favorite. I will say.
I like Josh Sellers Prosecco.
You know what? I will say it is a very affordable vintage. I mean, and all of theirs. I've had a lot of their different wines, and I really haven't had one that I've been like, oh, I'm not going to get that one again. Like all of the ones of theirs that I've had have been pretty good.
Josh is pretty. The ones that I've tried. So I like a Pinot Grigio, but it really depends, and it kind of like. Look, I had one Pinot Grigio that I drank way too much of, and I tasted it for like 3 days. It was not a good time for me. I might, full disclosure, I might have taken some medication that I forgot that I took.
Oh, that was a poor choice.
Which, the medication's really good if you forgot you took it.
Oh.
But I do not condone that whatsoever. But I was like, the next morning, I was like, why do I not remember half of last night? I did not have that. Like, I did not have that much. Like, maybe myself, I had a bottle. But that's like,
oh my word.
But I wouldn't like not remember anything. You know what I mean? Like, I
would not remember if I had a whole bottle.
I would be like,
I'm a lightweight.
You are. I would be like, woo, like on it for the night, but not that bad. And I was like, why do I not remember? Like, I didn't. And then I went, oh, do not mix Klonopin with wine. I'll go ahead and let you know.
Honey.
It's not. And this was several years ago, but I was.
Oh, no.
It
tells you not to.
I forgot that because I took it the night before. So the next day. Well, for those who don't know anything about medications, like Klonopin has like a pretty long half-life that it stays in your system. I was super stressed out and I didn't even remember that I had taken it the night before. So it was.
So it did its job.
Oh gosh. Yes. Which is like I'm saying, like it's a really good one if you forgot you took it. But I like Pinot Grigios. I like Rieslings. Rieslings are super sweet though. A lot of people don't like Rieslings.
I do like a Riesling.
I'll say this because I'm the trash panda that I am. Stella Rosa has a sparkling red that's called Rose Regal. It is a sparkling red. If you really want to, I was this close. And then I didn't know what time we were recording today. And I was like, if I put orange juice in it, I don't feel as bad. So that was why I went with it. I was like, I got sparkling. My cat, guys. I'm sorry. I just caught her. I'll post a photo of what she's doing. Otter. She likes to lay on her back. And she's been doing this recently. But she lays on her back with like her little paws. She looks like an otter.
She looks like an otter.
But so anyways. So yeah. So it's like Josh. I like, what is that other one? Is it Saint Michelle?
Yeah, Saint Michelle. Saint Michelle.
Yes.
Those are good.
Those are really good. I like Josh's. I like those.
Josh is my go-to.
Like probably
it's a safe for me.
Prosecco Prosecco. My go-to is La Marca. One, I really like the way that the bottle looks. It's really pretty. And what's funny is the same color on my La Marca bottle is the same color that's on the Martha shard. So
I love it.
But you were not here when I originally did it because I had to record. But
you popped it.
What does it say?
1 year ONUC.
So we have our Prosecco cork. We can keep yours too if you want to, but
yeah.
I put it on the bottom of that. So we would have our 1 year.
But I have to say 19 Crimes is like the best for us to have.
Right.
That needs to be our official wine.
Snoop Dogg, are you listening? I know you are because
Obviously.
Me and Snoop would be best friends. Anyways.
Look, him doing the recording of the wildlife videos, that is my favorite. Oh my gosh.
Him and Kevin Hart doing the Olympics
yes.
So their
commentary is hilarious.
For many, many, many reasons. Snoop Dogg just holds a place in my heart that can never be.
Look,
much like 50 Cent in the club.
Look,
I can't. There's some things like Snoop won the Whisper song. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry if it's stuck in your head the rest of the day. That song will be stuck in your head. Such a good one. Snoop's on that song. One of the best. Do you know? Or Drop It Like It's Hot. Oh gosh, such a good song. But I like Snoop for a lot of reasons. One is I love Snoop because he is unapologetically who he is.
He's 100%
and
authentic.
At the Super Bowl, they told him that he could not partake in his usual recreational, we'll say remedies. I'm not going to say substances. It should. And he was like, I don't care, and still did. And
and he did his best to replicate the magic carpet from Aladdin's outfit. Like, I loved it
he's wonderful.
much. I love it. And y'all, he's smart.
He is smart.
So smart. And his friendship with Martha,
I absolutely love it.
Oh my gosh.
The fact that they have a show together is one of the best things I've ever heard in my lifetime.
I could be the Martha to his Snoop. I could totally do it. I have been called Martha Stewart more than once in my life.
Let's be honest, you're the Martha to my Snoop.
I really am. I have the balls to show it.
I think we have discovered today that this is our relationship. I am Snoop and you are Martha. Oh my God. This is so just occurring to me. This is so true. Oh, God. That's going to be updated on our website. Leah is the Martha and Kayla's the Snoop. Oh, geez. That is so accurate.
It's a good thing.
It is. And I can't believe we've never made this connection until now. However, I'm saying, hey, Snoop, D-O-double-G, I need you to come out with a Prosecco because you have not yet. And I understand 19 Crimes is like not your official brand. I'm saying, one, you have enough money to purchase it. So let's just go ahead and just do that and be done with it. Then I also, could you make a Prosecco? No. Snoop.
No. Well, you're pointing to me.
Still, I'm very impassioned right now. Make a Prosecco and put us on the label.
ONUC Prosecco.
ONUC. And it's One Nation Under Crime. One Nation Under 19 Crimes Prosecco. I am just saying.
We could make this work. I mean, we'd be pretty on a bottle.
Snoop, have your people call our people, which is me. We'll put Claire on the bottle, the cat. She could be the first 19 Crimes cat. Let's be honest. She looks like she's committed more than 19.
How many Prosecco? I mean, how many mimosas?
Not many, actually.
Okay.
I'm just laughing so hard right now because that is.
Look, that cat ain't taking my spotlight. Put me on the label.
She might kill you. That'll be her 21st crime. The murder of Leo will be her 21st. She was crying.
No, that would be awesome.
Yes. So the day that this comes out, yes, guys, this intro is long. We don't care. Because
fun. 1 year.
1 year ago today.
I'm so awesome with sound effects.
On Memorial Day, we came out with our first 3 episodes.
And they were epic.
They were great. And so I've done a rundown of our 1 year.
Okay, let's do it.
We have, just stick with me. Because I did some fun things.
I'm going to drink my drink.
You go for it. I'm going to buy you a drink. Oh. Anyways, we have 59 episodes with 54 of them being regular ONUC. Mm-hmm. The others are bonus. We have covered 47 years.
Ooh.
As of this recording, we have 9,199 downloads.
Oh, wow.
Oh, gosh, it's amazing. So that is, if you break it down into numbers, over 486 pages of notes that I have taken.
Bless your bones and your little fingers.
Over 270 hours of research.
Bless your little brain.
In recordings,
Big brain.
that is 4,036 minutes, which equates to 68 hours. I cannot go into how disappointed I am with that number at this moment. Just know one more would have been hilarious. That is 68 hours of full recordings that people can listen to our voices. And I actually added up all of the minutes. 68 was the number. Really tried to push that. It didn't work.
Hey, makes for a good time anyway, because we are delightful. That
we are listened to in, you're not ready for this number, 912 cities worldwide.
Wow.
Have heard our podcast.
912.
We have been heard in all 50 states.
Wow.
All continental regions, which include North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and Oceania.
Wow.
All of them we've been heard in. And our top 3 countries are the US, the UK, and Canada.
I love it. Thanks, guys.
And
we've got tears. We've got tears.
Gosh, because I'm cracking up at myself. I came down to our most popular episodes because I can do them by downloads.
Right.
So our most popular episodes of all time.
Oh, dear.
I did something you're going to love. I came up with alternative titles to them.
Oh, my. So I have to guess what they are?
No.
Okay.
You're going to die when I tell you the first one, and then you're going to know what the theme is. So our number...
Was it reptile dysfunction?
Nope. Our number 1 downloaded episode is episode 1, the Manhattan Well murder trial.
I'm sorry.
AKA the one with the muff.
I knew it was going to be something about a muff.
Our number 2 downloaded episode is episode 22, Lavinia Fisher, AKA America's first female serial killer, maybe, also known as the one about the food poisoned honeymoon.
And that was so bad.
And then episode 4 is also in the top 3. That is the Harp Brothers. And that is the one with the 4 L's of murder. Do you remember what the 4 L's are?
Love.
Mm-hmm.
Lust.
Yes. You've had a hard time with these other ones too because I listened.
I know.
Loathing and loot.
Oh, I was going to say money, but I was trying to make it into an L.
So those are our top downloaded, like, regular feed episodes. So what I found was funny, guys, we have a YouTube. I don't know if, like, a lot of people realize, but we actually have a lot of people that go and listen to our YouTube each week instead of our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Our top YouTube episodes, the number one is the Hart Brothers, episode 4, which we just talked about, the 4 L's of murder. I didn't come up with alternative names to these because you'll see. The second one is episode 31, the Patty Cannon Gang, which we hated. And then episode 41, which is actually in the top 5 of our most downloaded episodes.
Okay.
And that is The Mystery of the Beautiful Cigar Girl, Mary Cecilia Rogers, which we talked about pretty extensively. That was a pretty long episode where we discussed her because her murder is very... Poe was involved, like a lot of different things were involved.
Still not, it wasn't
still not solved.
Yeah.
Still not to this day. And there have actually been some pretty notable cases that have been solved that, like, were known to be unsolvable for the longest time, which a lot of people who follow true crime know that there is a case that recently has been, you could equate it as a cold case, but it was kind of recent. Her name was Brittany Drexel. I'm going to go ahead and mention her here. It will be a very, very long time before we ever reach that episode, but she went missing, and she was I'm pretty sure, guys, don't come for me if this is not the exact one, because I couldn't really read too much into it, just because I'm an empathic person, and I know her family's going through a lot right now, and that was really difficult. Pretty sure she went missing on spring break in Myrtle Beach. Anyways, they had this guy that they thought it was him. They've now figured out it was him. They have found her, and it's been like 2007, 2009.
They have found her alive and well, or they have found her remains?
They found her remains. Which they knew for a while that probably she was not.
Well, I mean, but it's been that long.
Finding of your child's remains.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
It's one of those things of like I have a father who died. Like, it's one of those things that they're gone. Like, you feel it inside of you, even though you don't know. But there's still a part of you.
That little bit of hope.
You hope that the phone rings and you don't know the number and it's them, or you hope that the front door opens and it's them. Like, and I think that finality for that, like, that's almost, it's grieving all over again. Like, it is. And so, and it's really difficult. Like, I'm very weird, guys, but
yes, you are.
I've had dreams where this is how weird I am. I've had dreams that my dad like faked his death and that he's really alive. And I've had this dream multiple times. And it's not like, I know it's not true, but it's one of those, like, I'll wake up and it felt so real that I'm like, it's almost like it hits you all over again, where you're just like, ugh, but I know. But I'm just saying, there are many cases that have gone unsolved for decades.
Right.
The East Area rapist, like, he's been captured. Like, he's got, like, those cases can be still figured out. And so, while a lot of people don't like unsolved cases, Mary Cecilia Rogers, I think, could maybe eventually we could figure out what happened.
Yeah.
But that was just a super interesting case. And so I found it really interesting that it didn't catch as much traction on our YouTube as it did on our regular downloads, but it did catch a really good amount of, like, traction as far as the amount of people who go to our YouTube versus, like, our normal feed. So,
well, it could just be that some people are interested in that case and they were looking it up and it came up.
Yeah. And so, it was just really, really interesting. How many people, like, we've been doing this for a year and almost 10,000 downloads. Like, we're so close. Maybe we'll hit it tomorrow. We can hope.
Somebody asked me recently, what do you get out of doing this download? I mean, like, we don't get money, y'all.
No.
And I was like, it is just so fun. Number one, I have a definite play date with my bestie.
Yes, every 2 weeks we have a play date.
I mean, a definite play date. But, I mean, it's just, I'm learning history, and it's fun. I mean,
and we get to uncover these cases that no one knew of.
Yes.
And, like, what's funny is, so there's another network, we've discussed them many times before, the Obsessed with True Crime Network. They do the Hamilcast, or they don't do it, but Jillian Pensavalli does the Hamilcast. Like, that's their whole thing. And they have a podcast called Crimes of the Centuries. And just 2 weeks ago, they covered the Patty Cannon gang. And I was like, we did that.
Yeah.
Like, we did that. That was, like,
I can speak about this intelligently.
And so it's just, there's so many things like that we've covered that, I mean, and the comments on that post were like, this is such a crazy case. Like, I couldn't believe I never knew. And I, of course, like, commented on it as ONUC. And I'm like, we covered this in episode 31.
Yeah.
Hint.
Go listen.
I mean, it's just so crazy.
Well, and people that I have spoken to, like, people that I know,
we have opened some horizons.
Well, yeah. I mean, people that I've spoken with have been like, I'm so glad that I'm listening. This is, inspired me to
do more research myself.
And I'm reading this book. I've looked up this topic, and then now I'm reading this book about it.
And it's so amazing.
Awesome. Yes.
Because
it opens conversations that you might not have had with other people.
Exactly. And it's just, it's so funny because people will come and they'll say, like, we got a wonderful email this weekend from a lovely lady. Her name is Rita.
Yes.
She's only on episode like 31, 32 right now, so it'll take her a while to catch up to this one. But
no, she may have been cramming.
She sent us an email. She's getting a sticker in the mail. You still can too, just FYI. And she was like, if you're still doing this, like, I'll, and I said, of course we are. And she was very kind. And she just said, like, I really enjoy their banter. I'll find what she sent, because I actually took a screenshot of it and I sent it to Leah, because I always like to do those things and be like, look, like, this is what we got. And because I do most of that stuff. But she said, I just wanted to let you know how much I enjoyed your podcast. I did leave a review on the platform that I listened to, and she sent like a copy of it. And of course, like, she was like, if you're still sending out stickers, I'll take them. And I was like, of course we are. Just send me your address. And her stuff's going in the mail today. But she said in her review, she said, I'm on episode 31. This is so entertaining. I not only love the content, both Leah and Kayla make you want to keep listening and come back for the next episode. They are both pink starbursts. They make it easy to follow, and it's family friendly. If you're looking for a new podcast to start, pick this one. Now, look, Rita, I don't know about family friendly.
Well,
we're language friendly. Because we touch.
I'm family friendly.
We still touch the reptile dysfunction. We still touch the border. All right.
I'm sorry, that just came out because it was just daggum funny.
It was hilarious. I talked about that the other day. Anyways,
I can surprise you every now and then.
You can, honestly.
I'm the one that came up with the muff.
Oh gosh, I know. I was like, we really did it on that first one with the muff. Honestly,
I surprised myself with that one.
I'm still crying because it cracks me up. Like, and honestly, like, it cracks me up because it's been a year of just so many different things. Like, we've created so many inside jokes on this podcast that, like, you would not understand if you had, like, what is a bipedal tailless beaver and what does he have to do with women wearing beaver muffs on their head in protest? Like, what? Why do alligators falling from the sky? What children's book does that have to eventually equate to? Which I'm telling you, TM, still going to become a children's book eventually.
I mean,
the bipedal tailless beaver and the crocodile that falls from the sky become best friends. It's a thing.
And I have a nephew who is a budding artist
in Charleston.
Yes.
So we're really combining all of our best episodes together.
All these things.
So because Mary Cecilia was the episode we introduced the bipedal tailless beaver. So really, we're just combining all of these wonderful things together. And I know that this intro is super long, but this is our 1 year, and we're just super excited.
Yes.
And
thank y'all for your support.
Seriously, like, we could not, like, one, we do pay for this ourselves, but
we do.
Seeing the amount of support, and I will tell you, this month, I haven't told Leah yet because we haven't seen in person since this, like, actually happened. The month of May has been our biggest month of downloads, period.
Yay!
Like, we have, like, by 500 from before, like, our biggest month before.
That's fantastic.
And I don't know what's happened, but I'm so excited. And it's just, people are finding our podcast and they're enjoying it. And it's just wonderful. And we have another really good episode for y'all today. And we are just beyond thankful that we have people like our best friend Ryan out, and
Little Man.
Like, absolutely love them. They send us congratulations and let us know, like, they're the ones that put our sticker on their car. And I mean, it's just stuff like that, like, yes, we understand we don't have as big of a fan base as some other, like, major podcasts out there, but, like, our fan base that we do have, like, you are so kind.
And guys, people that I know personally, former teachers of mine, you know who you are, just so encouraging and so kind. It tickles me.
Teachers.
Well, she was not my teacher, but
no, right, but correct.
Her husband was.
But she was a history teacher.
Yes. So you know who you are,
and that's always so fun. Just because,
thank you for enjoying us.
Yes, and the fact that people say I love history, and this is accurate, and this is right, and it's just it's so good. And so we just look forward to another year of making
more than one. You're stuck with me for life, sister.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm just saying we're looking.
But you're
forward.
not in charge of my funeral.
Yes, I am.
No,
I've already discussed this with Michael.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
It's in the will. Kayla cannot make any changes.
Look, Michael, don't tell her our secrets. So
without further ado,
we'll go ahead and we'll jump in after 30 minutes of an intro. We'll jump into our case for this week.
Welcome.
But it is a good case, so I'm glad that you guys stuck around. And just thank you for everything that y'all have done for us.
Muchas gracias.
In this first year. I will not say what Michael would say because it's... Anyways, I sent it to Leah the other day, and she goes, "That's something Michael would say," and I was like, "I know, that's why I sent it."
Yep.
Let's just say
it's the country boy version of gracias.
Gracias, yes.
So starts with gracias.
Our sources for this week, we have the Cornell University Library and the ever formidable reason why I am on the NSA list, and Brad is our best friend.
Murder by Gaslight.
You got it.
Da, 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 da.
We are in the year of 1847 this week, and let's just say, all right, I love when I make a connection, and I swear to Mary, Joseph, and Jesus Cristo if you ruin this for me.
In other words, don't talk.
I connected this as I was doing these notes, and it made me one of the happiest. I'm crying thinking about it, honestly, because I was like, this all connected for me. So January 4th of 1847, Samuel Colt, we know him.
Bang, bang.
Sold his first revolver pistol named the Colt Walter. Nope. The Colt Walker. I know I'm thinking Walter. I've been re-listening to, and that's why we drink. And anyways, Walter is a big thing in their podcast, which will connect to our next episode. We'll pick it up then. Anyways, the Colt Walker was sold to the U.S. government for use by the Texas Rangers. And the only thing that I put in parentheses in all caps was Walker, Texas Ranger.
Because
it's the Colt Walker, and they sold it to the Texas Rangers. And it's Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, I thought you were going to go to the fact that...
I love Chuck Norris.
No, I thought you were going to the remake of Walker, Texas Ranger.
I mean, yes, I do love that. Was in Supernatural, and he was also in Gilmore Girls, and
which is like your people,
Jared Padalecki. And yes, it's fantastic. But in my,
I really thought that
I was reading that, and I went, Walker. Oh my God, Walker, Texas Ranger.
That is pretty cool.
God, that was such a good show.
But notice how I went.
Oh, I know.
Totally Kayla Brain.
You went current, and I went like.
I went Kayla Brain.
He's so hot. Anyways,
see, I went Kayla Brain.
January 13th, the Treaty of, we're going to say that this is what it is. Cowanga. Like, anyways.
Cowabunga?
Nope. It was the treaty that ended fighting in the Mexican-American War in California. Then we have January 16th, John C. Fremont was appointed governor of New California Territory. This is one of your favorite words. We'll go with that. January 30th, Yerba Buena, California was renamed San Francisco officially.
San Francisco.
You like
Francisco?
Yes.
That's kind of fun to say.
You like Yerba Buena too.
Yerba Buena.
February 4th, the first U.S. telegraph company was established in Maryland. February 5th, the first relief party left Johnson's ranch to try and save the Donner Party.
Unsuccessfully.
Well, they saved some of them, not all of them. Well, I don't know if you haven't digested the. Anyways, never mind. March 1st, the state of Michigan abolished the death penalty. Michigan is only one of 3 states to have ever executed anyone following admission into the Union.
Huh.
There has been 1 execution, but it was not carried out by the state.
Huh.
It was Anthony. It was a federal execution, and I'm pretty sure he was Russian. Anthony Shebartoris in 1938.
Easy for you to say.
Right? Not easy. March 10th, Hawaii minted money for the first time. March 28th, the Massachusetts donation of 1847 for Ireland sails from Boston on the USS Jamestown. The donation was organized by a group of businessmen to distressed Irish families, and the goods collected totaled $150,000 then.
Whoa.
I know. May 7th, the American Medical Association, or the AMA, was founded in Philadelphia.
West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. Is that where they spent most of their days?
Cannot with you.
By the way, my 5-year-old nephew, he can kind of say that. Just saying, he's a prodigy.
May 8th, Scott Robert Thompson patented the first rubber tire. By the way, did you know? I only know this because of my boyfriend. Tires are actually white. They're made black, like they're not black when they're made, like they have to be made black. The actual like tire itself before it goes through a different process is white.
Why do they make them black?
I don't know. We were talking about it because my daughter has a bike and her bike tires are white.
Mm-hmm.
And so he made a comment because he's very like good with cars and everything. And he's
knowledgeable.
Worked at a mechanic shop and all this other stuff. Now he works in a different way with cars. And so he was like, you know that tires are actually like white. Like they're not black. They're made black.
I guess they get dirty. But go ahead and make them black.
I don't know. I have no idea. But interesting nonetheless.
Little tidbit to know.
April 28th, George B. Vachon became the first African American to enter the New York State Bar.
Good for him.
June 1st, the Zeta Psi Fraternity of North America was founded at NYU. June 10th, the Chicago Tribune began publication. June 14th, Robert Bunsen invented the Bunsen burner.
I was going to ask if he was a scientist.
June 18th, American photographer Thomas Martin Easterly took the earliest known photograph of lightning using the daguerreotype process in St. Louis, Missouri. It's a very cool photo. I've looked it up online. It was really cool.
I love pictures of lightning.
I do too.
Lightning's beautiful.
Yes.
As long as it's far away from me.
June 22nd, the first ring-shaped donut, like a donut that you eat, was allegedly created by Hanson Gregory.
Allegedly.
There is apparently some debate.
Oh, there's always debate. Okay, best donut comes from
Krispy Kreme.
Duh. Okay.
I'm glad we have that out of the way.
People will argue with you.
It depends on whether you want a cake donut or you don't want a cake donut. Because if you want a cake donut, then like Dunkin' is a cakey donut.
That's not a donut.
But like you want to eat
cake.
a donut and you want to feel as though it dissolved the second you bit it.
You want a little piece of heaven with glaze.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. I love the one that's near us, kind of, that's closest to where we are. You
on
can
31?
Yeah, you can watch them make them, and it's really cool. I like doing that.
Yes.
So, anyways, we don't have time to go into that.
That hot now sign just gives you warm fuzzies.
Gets you. And there's a TJ Maxx and Home Goods right beside it. You know, it's just a day. June 27th.
Let's just hurry up and finish.
You know, I'm feeling that right now. June 27th, New York and Boston were linked by telegraph wires for the first time. July 1st, the U.S. issued its first postage stamp featuring George Washington for 10 cents.
It is a lot more than that now.
Yes. And Benjamin Franklin for 5 cents.
There you go.
Fun fact, the first 10-cent stamp was used on July 2nd of this year on an envelope, and the envelope still exists to this day.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure it is in the U.S. Postal Museum that is near the Smithsonian in D.C., but
that is pretty cool.
don't quote me on that.
Too late. It's recorded.
July 24th, Brigham Young and 148 Mormons arrived in Salt Lake City Valley, Utah. So they officially made it there.
There you go.
And that is why Brigham Young University is there. We discussed it before.
I was going to say, soon after, a university was founded.
Anyways, July 26th, Moses Gurish Farmer built, this is just fun, the first miniature train for children to ride.
Oh, that is fun.
Isn't it?
I mean, I'm a child at heart. Can I ride?
Probably.
And there's some kids that weigh more than me. I'm just saying.
July 29th, the Cumberland School of Law was founded at Cumberland University in Lebanon, Tennessee. And at this time, only 15 law schools existed in the United States.
How many women were students?
We're not going to go there.
I'm just asking.
September 10th, the first theater opened in Hawaii. October 16th, Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre was published.
Oh, I love the Bronte. Wait, let's have a moment. Bronte sisters. Fantastic. Yes. And they were able to publish as women and be successful.
Right. Not under a pseudonym. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say that, bring it to light. Let's celebrate them because that's fantastic.
They are wonderful.
Okay. Continue.
October 31st, my favorite day of the year. The Theta Delta Chi. The Theta Delta Chi social fraternity was founded at Union College in, such a fun word, Schenectady, New York.
Ooh, that is fun.
November 21st, the steamboat Phoenix was lost on Lake Michigan, killing 200 people.
That's sad.
November 29th, Oregon missionaries Dr. Marcus Whitman and his wife Narcissa, not Malfoy, and 11 others were killed in the Oregon country by Indians, which started the Cassius War.
That's exactly what I thought, too.
I know. That's why I went ahead and said it. You're welcome. And our undated event for this year, the candy Nico wafers were first produced as hub wafers in New England, and that began the mass candy industry.
I love it.
Gotta love it.
You know what? I watched that on How It's Made.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me tell you something. How It's Made. I love that show so much. Now, some of the things I'm like, but it is so cool to see how things are made. It just amazes me. And when it goes back that far and, it shows the history, especially if it's been like a family-owned
That's
company.
always fun.
Yes, I love to see that. And I think Smarties has been a family-owned company from way back. I love to see how things are made. Also, it is really good to nap too because it is very even keel, and
It's not what I nap to.
Well, no. Well, I mean, I know. But I will say I've seen all the Harry Potter movies more than once. I can tell you which movie it is just by looking up and seeing a scene usually.
That is very true. I can as well.
And so I will nap to those a lot. I will put that on just, if it's my Sunday afternoon nap. But napping to How It Is Made, that's a really good thing to nap to as well because it's a very constant, steady. But I do enjoy watching how it's made as well because some of that stuff, it's just awesome to see.
This is true.
From beginning to end. That was really just kind of an aside. There you go.
I nap to Ghost Adventures, and I think that that's really fitting.
That's very you.
I mean...
Nope, I don't even watch that.
I was actually watching a different show before you got here with, wasn't Ghost Adventures, it was with Jack Osborne, called Portals to Hell. Anyways, different This is the difference in us right now.
It really is.
It's
That is not my cup
I
of tea.
like Jack Osborne. I used to watch the Osbournes when I was younger, and I always liked them. I always thought they were funny. I always liked Sharon. I always thought she was always fun.
I've seen her on things, and I've not disliked her.
She's on The View, I think so. Which I'm sorry for anybody. I was gonna say I'm sorry for anybody who watches The View. It's garbage, but
yes,
I've always liked Sharon, and I think the reason I like Sharon is because you have to be a super strong woman to deal with Ozzy Osbourne
and to put up with all the shenanigans,
like all the shenanigans. Mm-hmm. And then you have 2 kids with him, which Kelly, obviously, like she has the. I don't know who her hairstylist is. Obviously, she has to pay like $2,000 every time she gets her hair done, but
it's amazing.
It is the most beautiful purple that I've ever
really
seen,
is.
and it fits her skin tone flawlessly.
If I were brave enough and had the money to keep it up,
is gorgeous.
I would do it if I had the money to keep it up.
Well, Jack is now very popular on like the Travel Channel and does a lot of different like ghost shows. And one of them he does with another girl called I believe I don't know if it's Katarina or Katrina. I've only watched like 3 of them so far. But anyways, he has a ghost hunting show. He also has one with Kelly that they've done like a few episodes of. And Kelly cracks me up.
Would she be the me in the situation?
So she's super into it. And she really like, they're the Osbournes. Like you have to know, like that's their vibe. And so there's one show that's on there called The Osbournes Wanna Believe. And so Jack shows Ozzy and Sharon videos from the internet, and they have to like rate them on a scale of how much they believe them, as to like, it could be like a UFO video or like just different videos that people post on the internet, and they show them and like get their actual reactions. And it's so funny because the amount of times they like subtitle Ozzy because like no one knows what he's saying.
Right.
It's great.
Not only is it an English accent, it's a slurred English accent.
And Sharon's on there a lot too. And like they're doing it in the Osbournes like theater room in their house. So there's like dogs walking across the screen because they have so many animals. Right. They have like 6 different animals that are just dogs. Like they have tons of pets. And so you'll see like a little dog walk across the screen as you're watching it. It's great. And so anyways, they have like different shows on there, but one of them is Sharon and Ozzy are watching Kelly and Jack on a ghost investigation of like a building or something. Kelly, she's so into it. She thinks it is like the coolest thing she's ever seen, but she only vibes with it if she feels like it's like a good, like,
if it's not good, she's out of
spirit. The second she feels like it's like malevolent, one of them, she has like, they're just touring it during the day to kind of look at the building, and she has one of her like Pomeranians under her arm as she's walking around, and all of a sudden she hears something, and you just hear like a string of expletives, and she goes, "I'm out," and she's got the dog under her arm, and she's like running down the stairs.
That'd be me.
It's the coolest thing ever. But anyways,
that would be me.
That's what
I'd be like, "Howdy."
Those are things I nap to. Anywho, speaking of animals staring at you, I have a cat looking around my computer screen right now.
I love it.
So, summer of 1847 in Southbridge, Massachusetts. Really, really, really debated. You can't say anything until I'm done with this passage. And you'll know you cannot, more specifically, you cannot sing anything until I am done with this passage.
That's mean.
Thank you. It is not. And you'll know why. I almost didn't do this case.
Putting restrictions on me.
It's been a year in. I'm entitled. Summer of 1847 in Southbridge, Massachusetts. Elvira Houghton hired carriage driver. You know why I said it now. She hired carriage driver Milton Streeter to take her to her mother's funeral. Little did Elvira know he would be the cause of her own funeral just over a year later. Now go ahead.
Elvira.
I knew it. I was like, I can't. Anyways.
My heart's on fire. For Elvira.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we're not going to go into Southbridge, Massachusetts
Thank
this
you
week.
for letting me sing.
You're welcome. I allowed it. We're not going to go into Southbridge this week just because, guys, we've already covered way too much. We've got too much to go into. So
Didn't you let me sing?
you're welcome. It was your gift. Other than your shard, it was your gift. So Milton Whipple Streeter was Asa Streeter and Abigail Tracy's firstborn child on May 28th of 1820. He was a Gemini, and I also a bit odd to note that I was researching this on his actual birthday 202 years later.
That's kind of cool.
It freaked me out a little, honestly. And they were in Douglas, Missouri. In the pamphlet, it's a super, super short title. Incidents in the life of Milton W. Streeter, the jealous and infatuated murderer who murdered his young and beautiful wife, Elvira W. Streeter, at Southbridge, Massachusetts, October 3rd, 1848. That is the title.
Super short.
It's really straight and to the point.
I mean, they really needed to give you more details so you know what you were reading.
It honestly was hard to find as well because, just so little in there. The writer took careful note to mention this of Milton's birth. So I don't know who wrote this pamphlet, but she's salty. That's all I got. And this was written clearly after he murdered someone. But anyways, she put, quote, "Little did those parents then think as they gaze upon him that the little harmless babe bore about him the elements of a murderer. Little did they imagine the future years would rend their hearts with the keenest agony from the terrible deed of blood which their heart's child would commit. No one can unfold the pages of the future, and it is well that we cannot. The weight of the future bearing upon the present might crush the spirit. The mother, as she gazes fondly upon her dear infant, so fresh and so promising, will start with terror as she thinks for a moment what may be its terrible fate, but God, for her sake, allows her not. As she looks towards the vista of its coming years to read its destiny, she would shrink from the mighty task of toil and trial through which she must pass the voyage of life."
Whoa. I mean,
and all I can think of is as the sand falls through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
That was very, very dramatic.
Very dramatic. This child was born. Little did this mother know she's looking into the eyes of a murderer. Oh God,
she should have drowned at birth.
I mean, dang. What happens next is a bit. Anyways, when Milton was around the age of 2, he was placed
I'm not saying drown your children, people. Please,
exactly
please don't
direct
misunderstand
all
me.
of your emails to Leah at onenationundercrime.com. That is not a real email address. It will not go.
Drown children. I was being dramatic in keeping with the theme.
When Milton was around the age of 2, sorry guys, this story gets a bit. This part's a bit cringy. When Milton was around the age of 2, he is placed in a small chair near the fireplace, and his mother left the room only for a moment. From the other room, she heard a shrill scream as Milton had fallen forward in the now overturned chair, and his head lay on the coals of the burning fire.
That is not cool.
The physician was called immediately, and it was noted that in some places the bone could be seen. And his fontanelle was exposed.
I don't know what that is, but it don't sound cool.
The soft spot on the baby's head. That's their brain right there. And it's there specifically. So
yeah.
So his brain was essentially exposed.
Brain trauma.
Yeah. So thankfully, Milton fell into a coma for several weeks. And while the physician went to dress his wounds each day, the physician never promised to return the next because he fully expected Milton to die. The wound was healed and Milton eventually came out of his coma. He experienced seizures frequently over the next few years, and the medical attendant could, quote, easily foresee that though the physical injuries might be completely healed, the child would never again regain the tone and vigor of his intellectual faculties. Eventually, Milton had to be taken to a private hospital to receive care. And while it was extremely beneficial for him in the weeks that he was there, the expenses were just way too much for the Streeter family to be able to afford.
I mean, that'd be too much now.
Yeah. It took, because of a child growing, 6 years for his wounds to heal.
Oh,
because I mean, you think they're on your head and it's dealing with your brain and your skull,
and that's like the thinnest skin there is,
and it's growing and forming, and so each time like you think it's just kind of like yeah.
I mean,
6
I
years.
had surgery on
and that took a long time.
Face. It took a long time
because you had to
to
have
heal.
laser surgery.
I had to have laser
treatments.
Yeah, it was a lot because the skin on your face is very, very thin. So yeah, I mean, it took a long time.
Leah had to take like a hand's gobful of stuff to put on her forehead before she had to go get treatment done. It was bad.
It was, oh my gosh, it was numbing cream I had to put on, and it was a lot. I had a mole removed, and it was more involved than the doctor thought it was going to be.
It was a lot more
It had
involved.
been there a long time. Like, she thought she was just going to do a little cut, and it took longer.
Took a lot
than she
more.
thought. Yeah, it was a lot.
Took a lot more.
I survived.
And you were how old when that happened?
John. Well, let's see. It was
JC
5
was how
years
old?
ago. Yeah, he an infant. So
Yeah,
it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, so imagine a child.
And I've had it for as long as I can remember.
Exactly.
Too. I'd had that mole for as
I remember.
She asked me, how long have you had that? I was like, as long as I can remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so imagine a child having a traumatic injury to a skull. And anyways, it took, like I said, 6 years to completely heal, but the mental and internal physical wounds remained.
Oh, gosh, yes. And that wasn't even like on the soft spot on my head or anything. That was just on the side of my face.
And your skull was, Michael would say pretty thick. So,
y'all, I looked it was above my left eye. I looked like Sloth from the Goonies when it first happened.
It was pretty bad.
It was bad. It was bad. Like,
it took a long time for them to do stuff to it too. Yeah. Over the years, he attended school, but he wasn't really able to keep up. And his father made careful note to make sure he actually knew how to farm. He was like, "You're not really good in school, but we're going to make sure that you can actually farm." Just to make sure you have like an actual skill in this world.
There you go.
Which, like, good for them. But Milton was good at farming, and his parents put their focus on his education there rather than his education in a classroom. But Milton was prone to accidents, and not in the sense that he had like balance issues or anything like that. He was extremely prone to risky behavior. And there were incidents such as him playing with gunpowder near a fireplace and walking barefoot over farming equipment that caused injuries that would keep him bedridden for weeks.
Oh.
Sharp farm equipment, barefoot. I'm just going to leave it at.
Okay.
I'm not going to put y'all through the mental scars that I had to as I was reading this. However, he was described as comparatively happy, easily excited, easily governed, and also easily affected to tears. But then his family moved to the city. Several members of the family began factory work, and that included Milton. His risky behavior remained, and his temperament started to shift around others. But it was described that he was perfectly calm around his father. Then, at 16, he got scarlet fever.
Ooh.
And his, quote, nervous irritability was increased, and his emotions and actions became more impetuous and less under the control of will.
Oh, no.
Little is known about Elvira Houghton's younger years from the age of 16. We do know that she was fair, with dark hazel eyes and dark curly hair. She was kind, lively, lighthearted, and hardworking, having grown up on a farm. Some might say she lit up a room, which in most cases is a death sentence. Anyways.
Usually.
Any disappeared show on ID, they're like, she lit up a room, and it's like, all right.
That names.
Anytime they say she lit up a room or she was such a free spirit, I've always heard like, if anybody ever calls you, like if you ever see someone and you go, she's a free spirit, you should probably pull her to the side and be like, hey, we need to discuss like your future. And anyways, so her parents were not wealthy and she decided to take up the trade of dressmaking. She excelled and was known by many to be the best. She put herself into a higher social class by association because all of her customers were wealthy women around town. She was regularly complimented on her looks, and that was not something familiar to her, and she lacked the knowledge to see intentions of some people around her.
Oh, no.
She fell in love easily and frequently and fed upon flattery of others. She was in a relationship with a wealthy young man for over a year, but suddenly the relationship ended, and it was never really revealed why. Elvira was getting older, and she started to worry about the lack of suitors around her. She was afraid of being alone. Even still, she was light and happy at the time. And at this time, even though she was kind of thinking about her life ahead, even the thought of being with Milton Streeter would have made Elvira shudder in disappointment. Quote, time, however, is rapid in its marches and never stops for man or maid. The burden of time and age still weighed upon Elvira. And then an event occurred that changed the course of her life permanently. Her mother died. Elvira was sent a carriage to take her to her mother's funeral, and a driver was to be sent with it. Unfortunately, all of the carriage drivers were already hired out for the day. And just by happenstance, Milton Streeter was lounging about nearby when he was asked if he could take the job. Once he saw Elvira, he happily accepted. After all, he didn't really have anything else to do that day. The two began talking on their way to the funeral, and the sound of Elvira's voice did something to Milton that he had never experienced before.
Uh-oh.
It made him happy in a way he hadn't experienced in some time either. Milton had several younger sisters, and the one he was closest to, Hannah, was his favorite. And the two shared a familial bond that he didn't share with anyone else, even his parents. But Hannah had died some years earlier, and those feelings disappeared until today. The love he felt before was brotherly, and he knew of that feeling, but this was a quite different feeling overall.
Oh, dear.
While it was the saddest day of Elvira's life, Milton was stepping into a new life that he had never experienced before. He took her to the funeral and returned her to her father's house as instructed, and then he waited around town for the grieving Elvira to return. Once she arrived back at her shop, the two started seeing each other on a regular basis. Elvira wasn't very happy with the arrangement, but as I said earlier, she was getting older and she had someone who was hanging on her every word, and that is a dangerous combination.
Absolutely.
Milton was relentless in his pursuit. And when he asked her to marry him, Elvira hesitated and took more than a little convincing to agree.
I would think.
Plans were being made for the wedding, and as the day grew closer, Elvira called it off. She couldn't marry someone she didn't love, and they hadn't been together long enough to know really that much about each other. It had only been a month since her mother's funeral that she got engaged.
Oh.
Yeah. Elvira found that as time went on, they had absolutely nothing in common, and they were quite the opposite of one another. Milton was crushed by this, and he still continued to insist that they get married. And again, under all of the pressure, Elvira agreed. Their wedding day arrived, and Elvira was sick at the thought of going through with it. Milton tried to reassure her again, and Elvira burst into tears. Milton was desperate, and he tried to speak any word of love to her that he thought would work. And when it didn't, bit of a trigger warning. And guys, this is such a toxic, manipulative behavior in any relationship. If you see it run, just have to put that in. When nothing else was working, Milton threatened to kill himself if he did not marry her. Elvira's father intervened. And you would think that Elvira is like, thank God he's intervened. No. Her father also persuaded her to go through with the wedding. She agreed and stood at the altar.
Yeah. Her father intervened and convinced her to go through with it after this crazy guy says, I'm going to kill myself if you don't marry me because I'm so desperate and I need you so much. No, thank you, Pops.
She agreed and stood at the altar, pale and trembling, as she became Mrs. Streeter on August 16th of 1847. No one in town could actually believe that they were married when they heard. The younger men in the town knew how jealous Milton was about Elvira, and they would play jokes on him just to make him mad. They would imply that they were intimate with his wife, and some would give Milton a $50 to give to Elvira as payment for some unspecified services.
That's despicable right there.
The worst of them, and honestly, the worst of them, and this is his last name, because I'm sorry, this last name, there's nothing negative that could come with it. Bacon.
What?
Bacon.
I love bacon.
Like Kevin Bacon. Anyways, his last name was Bacon. And he had come from out of town. He learned of Milton's jealousy and did everything he could to insinuate that he was meeting with Elvira.
Look, that's just mean and hateful.
I know.
Find something better to do.
Milton began skipping work to spend time watching Bacon and Elvira. I'm sorry, Bacon. And although he could find no evidence of unfaithfulness, he was convinced that the two were intimate. He couldn't take it anymore, and he threatened Elvira with a razor and demanded that she confess. She did not confess and instead filed a complaint with the Justice of the Peace saying that she considered her life endangered by any further cohabitation with Milton. The Justice of the Peace ordered the couple to separate and put Milton under a $100 bond to keep the peace.
Wait, Bacon got no sort of punishment or anything? I'm sorry.
Because, I mean, at that time, just words and saying things to people, you can't do anything with that. Like, actual action of harm has to be taken. Right.
That's harassment, though. That is harassment.
That, though, it didn't matter. Like, at this time, that didn't matter. Now, yes, that would absolutely matter. But again, it was then Milton's actions that he took a razor to Elvira and threatened.
That was not cool. That was not cool.
I'm just saying, like,
he did not need to do that.
The court then thinks of those actions more than the actions of just a guy saying some words.
Now Milton, he's unstable,
right?
And that's not cool. But these other jerks are egging it on.
They didn't really know that. They just thought, like, oh, he's just a little odd. Like, they didn't know.
Well, sure, but I mean, these guys are egging it on, and they're jerks.
You'll
they're
see.
Bullies.
You'll see.
I don't like them.
Since Milton wasn't working, he couldn't afford to pay the bond, and he had to sell his furniture to his brother-in-law, Joseph Jans, to pay it. On October 23rd of 1848, Milton was helping his brother-in-law load the wagon of the furniture that he had sold and took the wagon back to his brother-in-law's house. Once it was unloaded, Milton told Joseph that he left his shirts at his apartment and he needed to go get them. Joseph took him to the house and waited outside. He heard Milton enter the apartment and ask Elvira where the shirts were, and she said that they were folded upstairs. Elvira went to get them, and Milton followed. Almost immediately, Joseph heard screams coming from inside, and he ran up the stairs. Sorry, guys. To find Elvira clutching her throat that had just been cut. Joseph grabbed Elvira and ran her to the neighbor's house to get her away from Milton and to get her help. Joseph looked up to see Milton also bleeding from his throat.
If I can't have her, nobody can.
Pretty much. Once the doctor arrived, Elvira Houghton was pronounced dead. Milton's wound wasn't as severe, and once it was stitched up, he was taken to jail. The trial started on June of 1849, and to say the proceedings were insane is putting it lightly. Those who testified said that Milton had a history of mental problems beginning from when he was 2 with his injuries he sustained from falling into the fire.
And it's a miracle that he was even alive.
Seriously. His attorney said that the murder had no motive and was probably committed in a state of excitement caused by jealousy and further aggravated by the relentless conduct of the other men in the town who were playing jokes on him.
Those weren't jokes.
Yeah.
Those were not jokes.
Interestingly enough, the jury was very reluctant to convict Milton of a capital crime. But at the time, there were not degrees of murder. It was either guilty or not guilty. It took 9 hours of deliberation from the jury to find him guilty of murder, but they accompanied the verdict with a unanimous recommendation for mercy. The judge sentenced Milton Streeter to hang by the neck until death, but the judge left the date of the execution blank, and it was to be determined by the discretion of the governor of the state.
That's unusual.
Yeah, it is very unusual. I think it's one of those things of like, I'm not going to be the one to put this on here. Like, I'm going to pass down the sentence, but like, kind of like, I'm not going to be the one to blame for.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of like passing the buck along to the next person.
Not let him die in jail, waiting on his retrial because he really is not competent enough to stand trial. But this guy wasn't black.
Right.
And
exactly.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
So they pushed it off to.
I think I'm still a little salty about that last case.
That was a
I'm
pretty
sorry.
bad one. Yes, the newspaper put heavy blame on the young men in the town who made fun of Milton and insinuated that they had relations with his wife. The New York Commercial Advertiser said, quote, "These rude and remorseless jokesters have now the satisfaction of knowing that their fine sport has been purchased by the death of one human being at the hands of a murderer, and he is yet to be farther paid for by the death of another on the scaffold." In December of 1849, the governor of Massachusetts accepted the unanimous decision of the Committee of Pardons and commuted Milton Streeter's sentence from death to life in hard labor at the state prison. I'll leave us with this last quote that's from the incidents of his life. Quote, "The companion of rogues, he is not a hardened villain and will be under a discipline best suited to the peculiar construction of his mind. He will be made to labor without disturbance, and to earn his livelihood without the cares and perplexities incident to the common affairs of life. He will be placed under moral and religious instruction, unaffected by the vicious influences that surround the life of men in the busy world. His present home may therefore be made subservient to the interests both of himself, his friends, and the community at large. And there is where we will leave him." And that is the murder of Elvira Houghton by Milton Streeter.
I'm sorry. I'm still very upset that they called those horrible bullies jokesters.
That was what when I say everything, kept calling them jokesters. Every single
That's not
thing
a joke.
I could find. No,
that is
not
funny.
at all.
This guy
not at all. It was rude.
Obviously has issues. Has issues. It's not a joke to him. It obviously bothers him more than most, and it's not funny. That is straight up bullying.
Yes,
that's what it is, and it's not funny. If it bothers somebody that much, obviously there's an issue with it, so you need to stop.
Exactly.
I mean, what does it make you feel like a big bad man?
I guess
to make somebody else have
so.
such a reaction. I do not get it. I do not understand. I mean, I love to pick at people. You know I do.
But that's too much.
But when you see that kind of reaction, you can tell when you've gone too far. You can tell when somebody's not having it. You can tell when you need to stop.
Yep.
And that is not okay.
Yep.
That makes me so angry.
And as
a woman lost her life because of this, and a man was put into prison because of this. Now, she shouldn't have married him. Her daddy should not have said, "Hey, let's go ahead and marry him." You know what? She could have made her life. And also, she could have been a dressmaker for the rest of her life and been a spinster, and that's okay.
Well, and and especially at this time, there was very much that pressure of, I need to be married or else I'm going to be alone. But then there was also comes from the other side, which still to this day is an issue of no means no, means no, means no, means no, means no, means no, means no today, means no tomorrow, means no a year from now, means no.
And your life can still be a fulfilling life without being a wife,
or
without
having
being
children.
a mother.
I was going to say, I know that's one of your like.
I mean, I'm just saying, what is
Nothing
the right
defines
thing
that.
for one person is not the right thing for another person. I mean, I know that at that time, people did not get that. As long as, and I'm a Christian, so this is my take. As long as you are okay with God, and you know that you are on the path that He has set for you, you're good.
And I mean, exactly. And like, I mean, you know how I am about like religion and other things.
I
like,
do.
Well, yes, I live along a similar path.
You do.
I also, though, I believe if at the end of the day you were happy, and at the end of the day you were happy with the path that you were on yourself, like if you can wake up and say, I feel good about myself today, I feel good with my decisions, I feel good with where I am at, then that's enough. It doesn't matter what anybody else says to you of you're not doing there. I'm sorry, guys. And this is one of my pet peeves. And this is where sometimes my irritation, I will say, with some religious beliefs come in, is that I don't personally think there is one roadmap to life. And there are some sects of religion that do believe that. Like there's only
there's not one roadmap to life because everybody has a different calling. Not everybody's roadmap is the same.
No.
Now, I believe there is one way to heaven.
But
everybody does not have the same path. My calling is not the same as your calling. It's not the same as my sister's calling or my dad's calling or my mom's calling or my other friend's calling, because we're all made differently. We are parts of the body of Christ.
We are. And I think I believe that in a different way. I think is my thing of it is and I truly think that a lot of people's like religious or moral beliefs or anything, I think it comes mostly from the experiences that people have had in life. And because I think there are just some things that occur that are very different. My life experience is not your life experience.
And that's true.
Which is why I never fault anyone for being a Christian, for not being a Christian, for believing in one thing over another, because my life experience is not someone else's, and it never will be, and it never can be, and you can never, as close as your life can be to someone else's, you didn't walk in their shoes. And that's I think is where a lot of mine comes in. I just think, you know what, if I am a productive member of the society, if I am being kind and I am doing the best I can at the end of the day, and I am happy when I lay my head down each night with how I acted that day. Now, there may be some days that I'm not. Like,
there's lots of days that I'm not.
We all do things that we're like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have done that. But
I may should have kept that to myself.
I mean, there's just so many different things that like, yeah, just because she felt like, oh, well, and I'm sure the death of her mother didn't help either, because her mother wasn't there.
Sure.
Mothers, regardless of anyone's beliefs or anything like that, a lot of times, and I hate to even say traditionally because that's not even the right word, but usually, that's the best word. Usually a mother is the word of wisdom, is the word of calmness, is the one that
I'm going to tell you right now, my mother is the most patient person I know. My mother is the most
not me.
Level-headed. Well, and that's not true for everybody, but my mother is the most level-headed, patient person that I know. Now,
I wonder if it has to do with her being Scottish, honestly. And I'm saying saying that honestly.
It does not, because Scottish people are known for their temper.
That is
people
true.
are known for their temper.
That is true.
But mother, Now, I have to ask her for her opinion. I do have to ask her a lot of times because
That's
she
not a
won't
bad
say,
thing.
I know, but I have to ask her for her opinion a lot of times. But she's a great sounding board, and I will ask her, and she will. She is good at encouraging me and helping me to see, and letting me just word vomit, if you will, at her, and then saying, okay, I understand what you're saying, but
right,
and it's important to surround yourself with friends and have those friends that you know that you can go to, and you're one of the friends that I'll go to you, and I have another friend that I go to,
and you'll look at me and you'll go, what?
Yeah, and I do, and I do. You and I have another friend that I go to, and
I know which one.
And I will lay things out.
She might be listening. Hello, I know.
I don't think she does.
I don't know.
I don't think she does.
If she is, hello.
Anyway, I will lay things out, and I will say, "What is your take?" Because when you're in the middle of things, when it is your life,
it's hard to
and
see from
you
the
are
outside
emotionally involved in things, it is so difficult to separate yourself and see things logically. So you need to have those friends.
Because you are, and there have been, I will not at all go into specifics of anything, but there have been situations where you have been emotionally tied to them and you have been mentally swayed one way. And I have looked at it from an outside perspective and I said, no. This is what's going on. And I can tell you based off of behavior of other people and based on everything that's going on, this, and you were like, I don't really, and I was like, I'm telling you, take a step back and look at it from a non-emotional, not I've known this person forever, not even anything comparatively. And then you were like, oh no.
Yeah.
I
because
can see
I
that
wear
now.
rose-colored glasses.
And I do not.
I believe everybody until you give me a reason not to believe.
I will believe to a certain extent. However, there is a meter that goes off in my head that is like, nope, that is not true. It's like, I feel like sometimes my brain is Maury when he's like, you said that this occurred. That was a lie. And I feel like my brain sometimes like does that. Like it's like, nope. Back up. That's not true. Our test show, that was a lie. Yeah. Like I feel like, and that is true because which I think is super funny because a lot of people will listen to the podcast and don't realize how different we are.
Oh, we're so different, guys.
But like we get along so well because we're so different.
And that's true because
and that's what's so
we
funny.
Respect each other's differences. Yeah. Look, I am the Tigger. She is the rabbit.
I am the Snoop. You are the Martha.
True. But really, I mean,
except you haven't gone to jail like Martha.
I have not.
But I could see the honest thing that you went to jail for was tax evasion while you were on your cooking show. And I'm sorry, but that is honestly the thing that I could
because I didn't realize that it was happening. I was letting someone else cover
And the prison that you were in is like Club Med where you like have tennis lessons. And
because I'm not an animal.
I mean,
it's
so accurate.
I have standards.
But I mean, yes, like I think that's also super funny too, because a lot of people, like some people will see it who don't. I'll say this, people who come in and absolutely like don't know us at all are the ones that are like, so
how did y'all become friends?
Leah's different from you. And I'm like, yes, she is.
Yes,
and they're always
is.
Like, so, and I told you this the other day. Someone was like, how did y'all meet? Like,
how did you become friends?
Like, I don't know how this happened. It's like, but I mean, I think that's still like, you have to.
It's important to have friends that are not the exact same as you.
Correct.
How boring would that be?
You
to
have
friends
to
the exact same.
You have to let's put it, and I've said this before because this has always been my true, genuine belief in anything. And I think that if a lot, and
Plus, her life would be boring without me.
Right. I mean, well, anyways, yours would be
boring.
super boring without me. Let's just go ahead and put that out. You
true.
wouldn't be on a podcast.
I wouldn't.
I think, and I've said this before, and you've agreed with me before as well. I think that the main thing people need to remember is that we need to appreciate the differences that you see in another, and you need to celebrate the things that you have in common.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think if a lot more people thought that and understood that, this is a true belief, like in my heart, that is a black hole. If
I'm trying to help her work on that, guys,
it hasn't worked so far.
I'm trying. I didn't say I'd succeeded.
We're years into this. But I think that a lot of things in this world, and I think too, a lot of things, I'm jaded by a lot of things in the world. And I think that's the difference too. I think that's the difference too, though, is I am very I am the one that brings you back to earth. Like, you're the balloon that's floating off, and I am the weight at the bottom of it that brings you back down to the earth and is like, you can't go that way. You can't.
That man doesn't really have a puppy in his car that he wants me to see.
Leah, it says candy on the side. It doesn't mean there's candy inside. Okay.
What?
I mean, I'm like, yeah, Leah, you can float away, but you're going to kill all the birds in the atmosphere. So how do we want to feel about that? But I truly believe, in the heart that I don't have. Well, sometimes it's there. I have a kid.
She has a heart. She just guards it.
You see it rarely.
Very,
very
carefully.
much.
But I got in.
If you celebrate the things that you have in common and appreciate the things that you have in different, I think the world would be a much better place. I think that people could see things from another perspective. I think that you can say, I have X, Y, and Z in common with this person, and that is great. And I don't have this in common with them, but you know what? I appreciate their perspective. And that's all you can say.
And here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Christian. That does not mean...
But I'm a cut a hoe. I'm sorry.
Well, I will punch. I don't cut, but I will punch. But that doesn't mean that I judge you.
I'll hand you the box cutter.
That doesn't mean that I judge you. And I think that's what the problem is.
That's the problem with a lot of things.
That is the rap that Christians have.
Mm-hmm.
A church is a hospital for broken people.
But I will say...
And the persona is that it's a place for perfect people. And it's not. And I hate that is...
That is true.
That is what people see, because it's not. And that's what I want people to know, is that, y'all, I'm a Christian. I mess up. I say things I ought not say. I think things I ought not think. I do things I ought not do. I ask forgiveness, and my God gives me forgiveness when I ask for it. Now, I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't judge people who do things that they ought not do, because I do things that I ought not do. And that's not what a Christian is. And Kayla has said to me,
right,
you're one of the few Jesus people,
right,
that really does that.
And I think too, so to kind of explain things, because I don't think I've fully explained some of this on the podcast before. I have gone through what some would say a lot of religious trauma. That's a good term for it. I have been in churches. I have been a very, very spiritual, religious person, in the fact of being a Christian, going to church when the doors were open, like literally going to church when the doors are open. Like, I have done that. I have been that. And I have seen so much behind the scenes that is so wrong. And
disheartening.
I will, not even disheartening, just straight up wrong, and things that should not be there from people of power in the church, these things should not be going on. And I will say some of these people are still in places of power in other churches, and I will leave it at that.
Yes.
Which is what disheartens me even more.
Yeah.
Because that is frustrating. And I think that once in the last experience that occurred, that was when I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. I will say there are a lot of beliefs that are from the Bible, that are from Christianity, that are from really any religious culture that I do partake in the beliefs in. I do believe there is one, supreme being over all of us. I do believe in all of those things. I don't think I'm not an atheist in that I think there's not something else out there. I don't believe that. I think there is a lot to this world. I also believe in some things that people would say are kind of fringe beliefs. Like, I think that if you believe in angels, that you can't not believe in the opposite. I don't think that you can't. There are certain things like that I know that I'm weird in some stances, but I don't think that you can believe some things without also believing alternatives to those beliefs. Like, people are like, oh, I don't think ghosts exist. I'm like, okay, do you believe in angels? Okay, then let's move on with our topic. Because some people will associate the same. Like, while no, it may not be the same thing. And I understand the beliefs all around. However, I think during the last situation that I experienced, I think was when truly my brain said, you know what? I know what I have to do to be a good person. And I don't have to go somewhere however many times a week for someone to tell me that I'm doing a good job and to get validation from that. Because you know what? The people who have been giving me that validation have done nothing but disappoint me, have done nothing but do things that are wrong. And that's the difference between Leah and I. Leah's not experienced that in that situation. I have experienced it numerous times, and it's one of those things that, like, I appreciate the fact that I've gone through these things because I can take a step back from situations and say, there's something going on that I'm not seeing. Like, I can do that, and I'm fine with that. But I also know, like, hey, some people, that's like their life. Like, that's what they thrive off of. That's what they appreciate. And this is, guys, depending on how you take this, depends on how you will take it. That is what I am going to say. I am not saying it in a negative way. I will say, I think some people do not have control in their own lives. So they have a strong desire to live by a rule book. And religion is that for them. Because I think a lot of people have had uncontrol in their lives and have lived on their own without that, like, grab back of religion to them, like, that is good for them, to where they feel, if I step outside of this, like, my world will fall apart. You know what I mean? Like, and I say that because I had a dad that did that. Like, my dad he felt he needed to have a rule book, but he couldn't live his life without one, because the second that he did, he went the opposite direction because he didn't, you know what I mean? Like, he needed
parameters.
He didn't have that foundation. And to him, that foundation was a rule book of this is wrong and this is right. And some people have to have that mental morality. And I think that it just depends on the person, and it depends. And again, like I said, depending on who you are, depending on how you take it's how you take it. I'm not saying it in a negative way.
Yeah, you're not saying that the Bible isn't real. The Bible is worthless.
I'm saying there's some people who have to have that anchor to live their lives.
Yeah.
And if they don't, their life is chaos. And that is perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. I think that the issue that comes in is when you cannot see other beliefs outside of that. And when you go, nope, this is the only thing. Like, if that's what your brain goes into, and you can't even say, this is what works for me, but it may not work for everybody else. If you can't say that, you need to think of why you can't say that. Because I've said it before, people who, even in political beliefs, if you are offended and you are torn apart When someone has a different political belief than you, it says more about you than it does about them. Because you do not feel confident enough in your belief of anything, whether it be religion, politics, anything. You are not confident enough for your belief to be challenged. And the second you are not confident in being challenged is the second you feel uncomfortable because you can't defend it. Yeah. And the second you can't defend it is the second you run away and hate comes out. Because that's the only thing you know what to do. That's the only thing you can revert back to, is saying you're wrong. Not, this is what I believe. This is why you're wrong. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. This is just where my beliefs come from, you know? And I think that's where a lot of the world gets twisted. And like I said, you appreciate the things you have different and you celebrate the things you have in common. Period. Into the sentence.
Always find something in common with somebody.
Always.
You like dogs? I like dogs too.
And I am a great example of being able to do that because I do like finding things in common with people. And I like
dogs too.
I have very different friends, like very. Yes. My boyfriend is wildly different than some other friends that I have. But like, it's one of those things that you find things in common.
Yeah.
Like, and one of the best, like Leah knows this as well, one of the best mental health things that ever happened was meeting my significant other. Not because I needed a significant other to complete myself. Right. I needed a significant other who would push me and help me grow in myself, not someone that wanted decisions. To change me in that relationship. And so there's just, guys, there's so many things. And just like this case, like you cannot think that your life cannot be a series of milestones that you feel you have to accomplish because it is dangerous to live that way. And I'm not saying this case is a for sure example of that. I'm just saying but it's dangerous when you start that.
Yeah. You don't have to get married.
No.
Just because.
You don't have to have kids right when you get married. Right. You don't have to have kids when you were.
You don't have to have kids at all. Look, I am a good example
go ahead.
Of that. I'm Aunt Leah and I'm loving it.
I'll take this bullet for Leah. You do not have to have kids because you are married, guys. Guess what? There are plenty of couples who are out there that don't want kids. And let me tell you something. I'm going to go ahead and grit my teeth when I say this. If you are someone who has asked Leah from this point forward if she is ever having children, I will haunt you in your nightmares and your dreams. Look, I am so tired of it. I have been friends with Leah for several years now. We've been friends for 6 years.
Longer than that.
Yeah, a little bit longer than that. But, and I cannot tell you how many times, like, I know, like, I'm sorry. I also believe that eggs have an expiration date. And I'm sorry, I love Leah, but hers are fast approaching that
they're done.
date. Like, they're done.
They're poached.
They have gone into hibernation. They're done. Like,
I'm ready for them to be
she's
gone.
Like, take them.
Take them out. All. Take it all.
Take it all.
Take all the equipment. Take it all.
I mean, and that is okay.
Look, here's
that doesn't make a successful marriage.
I am 42.
We are on this 1 year anniversary episode.
I am very, very quickly approaching 43. And let me just tell you, my filter, gone.
Isn't it nice?
I really don't even care anymore. And there's one particular person who has the unfortunate habit.
As I said before, the audacity in one pocket and the gall in the other.
Yes.
And let me tell you, and I have that one pocket that has the one thing full of nothing that you need to care about.
Yes.
I'll tell Leah, I've given Leah that nice phrase of, do you see all these pockets? There's not one F in them to give. Do you want to look in it?
They're all empty.
They're empty.
All empty. Not one.
Not one. Leah's actually looked at me before and she goes, do you see this pocket? Do you know what's not in it?
It's empty. I like pull it up and go,
weird. It's empty. I didn't bring them with me today.
They're all empty.
So empty.
But anyway, yeah. And you know what? Let somebody ask me, or let somebody ask somebody else in front of me when they are going to have. Let them ask the question.
Please,
I am
Leah,
so
let me be there the next time a person
ready
asks
to
you.
answer,
Please let me.
because I have an
I'll
answer.
attack.
I have an answer. Stay out of other people's bedrooms. Number one, stay out of other people's bedrooms, because number one, you don't know if they are trying and have put all their money, all their savings. So sad.
Yes,
which
you don't know
not.
that.
I have not done fertility or any of that things. I just like being Aunt Leah.
Leah likes being an Aunt Leah.
I love being Aunt Leah. I love my sleep and being Aunt Leah. That's just the truth.
Yes.
That's just the truth of the matter. Okay, but so I know people who have put so much money into fertility treatment, IVF, shots, all these things, and they have not been able to be a mama.
The heartbreak and the disappointment.
And how much they die inside
every
time
month.
Somebody asks them, when are you going to have a baby? And y'all, I have been tempted more than once to say, well, you know what? What if I told you that I've had 3 miscarriages? Now, that'd be a lie. But just to see the look on their face,
people need to understand why it's not okay.
Things with everybody. You do not share those things with everybody, and it just makes me angry, because I have people close to me who have had that happen to them, and it makes me angry for them, because it hurts them so much. Because no, you're not going to share that with everybody.
Or
if you're
even
not in their close circle, then they're not going to share. No, that with
and even people who have had one child and have had that struggle, and then someone goes,
infertility.
"Oh, well, when are you going to have another?" And you're like,
well, I've been trying to.
I've been trying. There's 6. I've been trying for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
secondary infertility is a real thing. And y'all, it makes me angry. It makes me angry on their behalf that people are asking that. It's not your business. And it's not your business. Ask something else. Ask, hey, I noticed you got a new car. Hey.
How have you been lately? Yeah. And don't tell me fine. How are you?
Yeah. Or, you know what? I noticed that you said something about you're working from home now. How's that going?
How is that?
You know, ask something else. Do not ask people
I don't
about something associated with their bedroom.
No.
Unless
don't.
It's have you redecorated.
Don't. No. Or their marriage or their relationship or anything, because...
Are you dating anybody? Well, you know what? I'd be bringing him around if I was. I have a husband. I'm just saying that's for other people.
Let me tell you. The first time someone that was... Leah knows the deviance, the extent of my deviance, that I would go.
She's so bad.
That I would go, well, are you seeing someone? And I'd be like, she's great. And just watch. Because you know what? It is none of your business. None of it.
I will let you know when I want to let you know.
Do you know when it is your business?
When I tell you.
No, when you're the other person in my relationship, it's your business how my relationship is going. Other than that, don't ask.
If I have a relationship, it is your business when I tell you, hey, I'm dating somebody. You know, I'm just saying. Anyway, I have told you all kinds of stuff today.
Somebody really good to fix you up with. You don't know if they're my type. One. You don't know if I'll say, you don't know if I like men. You don't know if I like women. Let me tell you, you don't know if I like theys. So what do you got for me? Because let me tell you, I can guarantee you your blind date you're going to set me up on that you think is going to be best for me. I can guarantee you it is not going to go the way that you want to. And that person is going to hate you for the rest of your life. But go ahead. Please introduce me to someone. Please do.
Oh, my.
Please. And it is those instances that it's just like, and the reason that we say this is we live in the South. We live in communities like this that are like, oh, well, honey, you're 25. Have you not met somebody? No, I'm not. The amount of looks that I'll get because I'm divorced and I have a child, like people are like, oh. And I'm like, no, it's a good thing. I'm happy. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Leah knew me married. She's known me not married. She's known me single. She's known me in a relationship. Like, she's seen all the facets of me. Like, don't just...
It's all good. It's, just stay out of people's bedrooms.
Mind your business.
Mind your business. That was the next thing out of my mouth. Mind your business.
You're welcome. See, this is how we celebrate our
This is why
similarities.
We're friends.
Mind your business. Like,
Business.
I can't. And that is, 1 year anniversary. I think that's the best way to leave
look into our lives, look into our thoughts. We hope you've enjoyed us.
I think that the 1 year anniversary is paper. And I mean, technically paper is on that bottle.
I mean, it is.
If we're going to be real technical with it.
True.
There is that. I mean,
you could have given me like a gift card to somewhere.
I could have, but why give a gift card?
I could have given you a gift card.
Why give a gift card? You didn't even give me a gift. Why give me a gift card when there's wine?
I brought you a prize last time we recorded because I thought that was our 1 year.
No, you didn't.
I did too.
That was my prize for something else. Don't even try and combine it together. For other life changes. And yeah. So don't even, see?
Oh, horrible friend.
You have to have people that keep you honest in life as well. Just saying.
I'm forgetful. I've had wine.
It's all right. It's fine. We still have another episode to record.
Okay. Well, guys, we love you. We appreciate you.
We really
Thanks
do.
for sticking with us for a year.
We're not even, you know what? We're going to just forget the regular sign off. You know how to find us. You know where we are.
Yep.
We love you guys. You truly are so wonderful for listening to us. As Leah always says, a pink starburst, red, orange. If you're yellow, anyways,
better than red. I don't
yellow's
like red.
I like red. Yellow is where I draw the line.
No, I like
yellow. So I'll tell you guys, next week's an interesting one. Leah's going to have some interesting reactions.
Oh, no.
So we will see you here. Same time.
Different crime.
Next week. And remember, there isn't liberty and justice for all, especially if you try to tell someone how to live their life.
Yeah,
and that's where we're going to leave it.
There you go.
We love you guys. Happy 1 year anniversary. Goodbye.
Bye.